The shrill whistle coming from the executive lounge's antique coffee brewer echoed through the headquarters just before sunrise. And I muttered that the machine sounded like a steam engine trying to escape the building while I crawled beneath a maze of electrical conduits with a flashlight clenched between my teeth. My name is Eleanor Brooks, and for 24 years I quietly kept the headquarters of Northbridge Analytics alive by repairing forgotten systems, solving impossible emergencies, and remembering every secret nobody else ever bothered to write down. Every weekday began almost exactly the same, with me unlocking the front entrance before dawn using an old brass key that had become smoother than polished glass after decades of faithful service. Long before the executives arrived carrying expensive coffees and bigger egos. While cleaning crews left overflowing trash bins, spoiled lunches, leaking refrigerators, and broken equipment behind, I silently fixed every disaster without expecting applause because I believed that taking pride in honest work mattered more than collecting compliments from people who barely knew my name. The younger managers often mistook me for nothing more than the maintenance supervisor, yet I knew every electrical panel, every ventilation duct, every stubborn pipe, and every hidden switch inside that towering office complex better than the architects who had designed it decades earlier. Whenever the heating failed during winter storms or the internet collapsed minutes before major presentations, everyone suddenly remembered Eleanor existed, praised me for an hour, and forgot me again the moment the crisis disappeared. Then came the arrival of a brand new operations executive named Cassandra Blake, whose polished speeches and motivational slogans impressed everyone except the people actually keeping the business running behind the scenes. Because she believed charts and consultants could replace years of practical knowledge, she smiled constantly during meetings while speaking about innovation and restructuring, never realizing that the invisible foundation supporting every successful company is usually built by employees nobody bothers to introduce during corporate celebrations. Late one Thursday afternoon, a meeting invitation appeared on my calendar with no explanation except the words "organizational transition discussion." And years of experience instantly told me exactly what those carefully chosen corporate phrases truly meant. The following morning, Cassandra, accompanied by an attorney with an expensive suit and an emotionless expression, handed me a severance package containing my misspelled name, thanked me for my years of dedication, and politely asked for my office badge, master keys, and company property before escorting me toward the exit. I returned home carrying only a cardboard box filled with family photographs, handwritten maintenance notebooks, and a framed thank you letter from the company's founder written more than 20 years earlier, when the business occupied a tiny warehouse instead of an impressive corporate tower. While placing everything into my study, I opened an old filing cabinet labeled Property Records, intending only to organize memories before moving on with my life, never imagining that a forgotten folder would completely change the future of the company that had just dismissed me. Inside that aging folder rested the original building lease, several legal amendments, insurance agreements, utility contracts, and correspondence dating back to the company's earliest years, when lenders refused to trust the struggling startup and I had personally accepted responsibility to secure its first headquarters. As I carefully reviewed every page, one sentence stopped me cold because the lease renewal deadline had quietly expired several days earlier without a single renewal request being submitted by the company, leaving the legal tenancy resting entirely on agreements that still carried my signature. Instead of celebrating, I spent an entire evening confirming every document with remarkable patience because I understood that acting without certainty would accomplish nothing except unnecessary conflict, and facts always speak louder than anger. After contacting an experienced real estate attorney named Victor Reynolds, we carefully verified every contract, every amendment, and every legal responsibility before he looked across the conference table and calmly confirmed that the company had indeed ignored an obligation capable of placing its headquarters in serious jeopardy. Victor arranged a formal meeting with the building owner, who seemed genuinely surprised after discovering that the corporation had never updated its leaseholder information despite years of leadership changes and administrative reshuffling throughout the organization. During that conversation I learned another business had already expressed strong interest in leasing the property, and after lengthy discussions the owner legally accepted a new agreement while authorizing official notices requiring the current occupants to resolve their status within the required legal timeframe. Days later, certified notices reached the corporate offices. But confusion spread faster than understanding because executives assumed someone else had already handled the paperwork while departments quietly passed responsibility from one office to another until valuable time disappeared. Employees whispered through hallways, emergency meetings multiplied, lawyers hurried between conference rooms carrying thick binders, and senior leadership slowly realized the person they had underestimated possessed decades of institutional knowledge that no replacement employee could recreate overnight. Several former coworkers called to ask whether the growing rumors were true, and although disappointment still lingered inside me, I refused to celebrate another person's hardship because my goal had never been revenge but accountability for careless decisions made without respect or preparation. One longtime technician admitted that morale inside headquarters had collapsed overnight as executives searched desperately for missing records, forgotten passwords, contractor contacts, and maintenance histories that had always existed inside the notebooks everyone once dismissed as outdated paperwork. Eventually, the company's chief executive telephoned me personally, demanding immediate explanations while insisting that I should simply reverse everything because investors, clients, and employees were becoming increasingly anxious about the uncertainty surrounding the headquarters. I calmly explained that every action had followed existing contracts and legal procedures, reminding him that organizations often overlook the value of loyal employees until experience walks out the front door carrying knowledge impossible to replace with presentations or motivational speeches. Within weeks, the corporation relocated temporarily into several rented office suites across the city while the original headquarters welcomed its new tenant, a fast-growing environmental engineering firm determined to renovate the building without forgetting the importance of every employee regardless of job title. Before construction began, the firm's founder invited me to tour the renovated plans, thanked me sincerely for preserving the property's history, and asked thoughtful questions that no executive at my former company had ever considered worth asking. Standing outside the familiar entrance one final time, I realized the building itself had never betrayed me because walls and hallways simply witness the choices people make. While gratitude and respect always depend upon human character rather than polished architecture or impressive corporate branding, I returned home carrying only the original brass entrance key as a personal reminder that integrity, preparation, and quiet professionalism may go unnoticed for years, yet they often become the strongest foundation when circumstances suddenly change. Life gradually settled into a peaceful rhythm filled with consulting work, family dinners, and opportunities to help smaller businesses avoid repeating the costly mistakes I had witnessed throughout my career, proving that genuine experience never loses its value simply because one employer fails to recognize it. Please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. We create entertaining and inspiring stories for our viewers, and your support helps us continue making great content for you.